G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. I hope you enjoy today's bloody good content. I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie and get ready for some bloody good stories. Let's go. Posted by user Throwaway8567. Titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my best friend's girlfriend she has nothing to worry about? Title sounds weird, I know, just hear me out. I, 21 female, have a best friend we'll call Carl, 22 male. We've been friends since sophomore year of high school. I consider him one of my best friends. I am a lesbian. And yes, this is relevant, and very much not his type, also relevant. So our relationship has never been strained due to one of us being in the friend zone with the other. We text pretty frequently, and sometimes FaceTime just to hang out and to talk about random crap. But about a week ago, Carl let me know that he was going to severely limit his contact with me because his girlfriend, Amy, recently voiced her discomfort regarding the amount of time me and Carl hang out. Again, it's all over text and FaceTime due to the pandemic and us attending different schools. I got really sad. This might be pathetic, but talking with Carl really makes me happy, especially since he's one of the only friends from high school I've stayed close with. So I thought maybe I could try talking to Amy to see if she would reconsider her feelings towards the situation. This was an extremely stupid decision. I contacted Amy and told her about all the reasons Carl and I aren't attracted to each other. Me being gay and not his type, us seeing each other as siblings, both of us having girlfriends, etc. She got pissed and said what was going on between her and Carl was none of my business, and I realized I was making a mistake and apologized for bringing it up. Carl later texted me and told me he was mad that I tried taking matters into my own hands. I apologized to him and acknowledged what I did was stupid, but I also told him I was still upset that we wouldn't be talking to each other as much. He hasn't responded since that. I vented about the whole situation to my girlfriend yesterday, and she said Amy was being ridiculous. I somewhat agree with that, but I still feel crappy for inserting myself into the situation. I just don't know how to feel right now. Am I the a-hole? Now in the comments, Oil See You Later says, You're the a-hole. Carl basically told you that your presence in his relationship was causing friction, so you decided to jump in with both feet. Bad call. It's entirely possible the jealousy isn't about romance, but emotional closeness. I don't know many people who FaceTime that regularly with platonic friends, and while it doesn't inherently mean your relationship isn't platonic, it doesn't mean it's reasonable that his girlfriend is fed up with his regularly using up all his emotional capacity on some other woman. And OP replies, Holy mackerel, that thing about emotional closeness really opened my eyes. I hadn't even thought about it like that, but it makes a lot of sense. Thank you for bringing this up. And Oil See You Later replies, Obviously, I'm only drawing from my own experiences, but that's why I broke up with my boyfriend. He was an awesome guy, lots of friends, lots of female friends, because he was sensitive and easy to talk to. And while I don't think he's ever cheated, he'd constantly have some other woman crying in his ear about her life or relationship, so he'd get home to me and just want to play video games. No us time or snuggles or anything because his friends used it all up and he let them. And OP replies, Oh gosh, I'm sorry that happened to you. I am really glad I posted this because you and a few other commenters have enlightened me in a huge way regarding the emotional aspect of the whole situation. I'm definitely going to keep this in mind if Carl and I start speaking again. Thanks. Temtemrem says, Mild everyone sucks here in my opinion. You, because you went ahead and contacted Amy without discussing it or gaining approval from Carl? She's his girlfriend, and it's his relationship. You should have talked to him about your feelings before going to Amy. You went over his head and essentially told him that you don't trust his judgments or decisions. Carl sucks because he's allowing Amy to pick and choose who he can and cannot talk to. He should have stood up for you in the first place and explained the nature of your friendship to her. And Amy sucks because she's allowing her insecurities to get in the way of her relationship with Carl, and she's trying to dictate what friendships he's allowed to have, essentially isolating him from people he's close to. That's a pretty big red flag in my opinion. Another commenter mentioned something about emotional closeness and how she might be jealous of that between you two, which, okay, sure, but it's not an excuse to attempt to cut you off completely. She should discuss that with him if it's the case and attempt to build up their own relationship in that regard. And One Mike Nation says, "You're the a-hole. It's small, but you should have respected his decision or discussed it with him instead of talking to his girlfriend, especially since the two of you aren't close. And if you were to talk to her, you should have got more information as to why she didn't want you to talk as much. Maybe it had nothing to do with a physical attraction, but maybe just the time he spent talking to you. If you do talk a lot, she could simply just want more of his undivided attention and doesn't want him on the phone texting you while they're together, which is understandable." And OP replies, "That's a great point. I should have considered that it could be about the time spent rather than any potential attraction. Thank you for your judgment." And OP leaves an edit in the post and says, "Thank you all for your input. I agree I was the a-hole here. Thank you to those who brought to my attention that Amy may have been upset that Carl was providing a certain level of emotional availability to somebody that wasn't his significant other. That really put things into perspective. Also, please don't call Amy any names. I only met her a few times, but she's been nice to me in the past, and besides this, her and Carl have been a pretty good couple from what I could tell. And you'll be delighted to hear there is an update to this situation." So OP says, "Nothing really crazy has happened since this post, but I thought I'd let you guys know how things have been. After I made that post, I made sure to keep a good distance between Carl and myself. We still talked a bit, but definitely not as much as we used to. I did have to talk to Amy once, but it was because of an unrelated emergency regarding a mutual friend of ours. Nothing to do with the original incident, and I left her alone after that. Then, a few days ago, Carl let me know that he and Amy were taking a break. I told him I was sorry, not because I did anything, just in the sorry this is happening way, and that if he ever needed to talk, I was open to listen. I left it at that and didn't push for any details, but he ended up venting to me for a while. Long story short, they were at different levels of emotional investment, and thought that it would be best to step back for a bit and reevaluate their feelings. Carl assured me that it wasn't my fault. It sounded like it wasn't anyone's fault and was more of a mutual misunderstanding, and said he wanted to go back to the way that we used to talk. I was happy about this, obviously, but I also let him know that we should probably talk about boundaries so that nothing like the original situation would happen again. He agreed, we had a long talk about it, and I think both of us left with a better understanding of each other. Thanks again to everyone who passed judgment on my original post. I know this update isn't super necessary, but I thought I'd post it anyway just in case anyone cared." Now in the comments, Glencora42 says, "Pole, pronounced pole, is a Swahili word that basically translates as, 'I'm sorry for your situation even though I didn't cause it.' We need to adopt this word into the English language, because always saying sorry can get confusing. I'm shocked by all the 'you're the a-holes' in the original thread. The advice they gave is disgustingly bad. A friend's significant other trying to cut them off from their best friend should be a huge red flag." I agree. Like the stuff people were saying about the girlfriend being uncomfortable with the boyfriend's emotional investment in OP was purely because OP is a female. If he spent all day texting and FaceTiming his bros, then girlfriend probably would have been annoyed, but not to the point where she was telling boyfriend to go low contact. It all depends on how close they actually were. I mean, I read posts where the bros were a little too close, meeting every day, and the boyfriend would drop the girlfriend's things to be with the bro, and she got mad. I'm not saying that's what happened, I'm just saying it does happen. Yeah, it was kinda mad homophobic, basically implying that OP was stealing her man, but if he had that relationship with a guy, hey, no big deal, guys talk things out, right? Like, Probably for the best that it ended. Girl needs to grow up. Slight red flag on Carl's quickness to jump out and jump back into your life when it suits him. Yeah, but they're only in their very early 20s. I made a lot of mistakes balancing friendships and romantic relationships at that age, especially before I had the experience of being in a healthy, multi-year relationship. My friends did too. None of it made us bad or unreliable friends. We were all just growing and learning together, and occasionally we screwed up. It might be worth keeping in mind, but unless it becomes a pattern, I would write it off as a simple mistake. It would have been nice if he had apologized for overreacting and cutting contact, but if he's an otherwise good friend, there's no reason to not forgive this one blip and move on. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next post by Snoo Walruses 2410, titled, Am I the a-hole for expecting my sister's boyfriend to pay my dog's vet bill? So my dog has stomach and digestive issues. She's always had these issues and is under the care of a vet. We are not sure what triggers her problems, but we found a limited grain-free diet keeps her happy and healthy. She's 9 years old and still acts like a puppy. Her vet is satisfied with how she is. If she gets a hold of something she isn't supposed to have, I go through several days of her not feeling good, and when it's something with grains, the next part is a little bit gross. She can very commonly develop blood in runny stool. When that happens, I have to take her to get checked out, especially now that she's older. This is something that I can make very clear to anyone new that comes over the moment they walk in the door. She cannot have any food that isn't her dog food or a very short list of items that are used for treats. All items are labeled with her name, and I make it clear people can give her those items from those containers. I even explain why. She's trained not to take food from the kitchen or the table, but she's also part lab, and will take something if it's left on the couch or somewhere else. These are all things that my sister's boyfriend knows. And well, he stayed over on Saturday night and Sunday morning. I found a pizza box on the floor next to the couch. It was licked clean. So I thought maybe my dog didn't get to it, but I did ask if there had been any pizzas still in it. He tells me, probably like 2 or 3 slices. I guess I forgot about it. I asked him why he left it there when he knows my dog can't eat that kind of stuff. Why didn't he leave it somewhere like the table and just use a plate? He got defensive and said that it wasn't a big deal since it's the first time he's done that. I told him it was a big deal and that if she got sick, I expected him to pay back the vet bill and any possible cleaning bills if my little home carpet cleaner couldn't remove any stains possibly caused. He got mad and told me that my dog was my responsibility and he wasn't going to pay anything. He then left. My sister apologized for not checking the box before heading to bed and has said that she will pay half the vet and cleaning bill if it comes to that. But her boyfriend still says this morning that he won't pay a bill for a dog that isn't his and called me a giant a-hole for thinking he should. Edit. I've realized I forgot to add an important part. In terms of training and why she's trained to not go after food on the table or in the kitchen, she sustained a very traumatic head injury a few years ago. This injury has impaired her ability to learn new things beyond the basics she already had. I've worked with a trainer to try and find a way around that, but haven't had much success. Honestly, I would say no, you're not the a-hole for expecting him to pay the vet bill. He knows, and he should have known time and time again, not to leave food out, not to let the dog get to any food that isn't part of the strict diet. The dog has had a traumatic brain injury, you can't blame the dog for its actions, it's unable to learn mechanisms that would stop it from doing as such. The boyfriend is solely to blame for all of this. Screw that boyfriend and screw him for turning this on you and saying, I shouldn't be expected to pay for that. You're a giant asshole for thinking that I should have to pay for it, even though I'm putting your dog's life in danger. And to that guy I say, he is a ridiculous, childish, petty, and stupid man. Pay for the vet bills and get over yourself. Not the a-hole OP. Now in the comments, Plastic Archer 4245 says, not the a-hole. Sister's boyfriend is a gaping a-hole. He was a guest in your house, and I hope the pupper is okay. And OP replies, so far she's okay, but for the next 48 hours I have to keep a close eye on her. After that, she'll be out of the woods. Bless her. Fingers crossed for your papa. Get that boyfriend to clean up the diarrhea. That'll teach him not to leave food lying around. She's your dog, she lives in your home. Your home is her home. When he visits, he's in her home, so it's his responsibility to not leave stuff lying around in her home, not the a-hole. Yes, he definitely should pay the vet bill. If he can't follow the rules, don't let him in the house. Not the a-hole. His ego is bigger than his decency or even common courtesy. You know what I did when my in-law's dog went in the guest bathroom trash can, ate several of my tampons, and then almost died because we didn't close the guest bathroom door? I insisted on paying the vet bill. Mother-in-law finally let me cover some, but it wasn't even half of it. It's quote-unquote her dog, and it's a whole thing between her and my father-in-law about how much the dog costs them, which is the only reason she budged at all. She's fine, thank God, but I felt awful. It was sad and scary, and the poor little thing was just being a dog. I'd love to know what you guys think about this one. Anyway, I'm moving on to the final update for this. So, OP says, now on to the update. My sister's boyfriend came over last night to specifically talk to me. I was wary and made sure my dog was in the room. I didn't think he would give her something that was bad for her, but I also didn't want him near her. He said that he'd called his brother to complain about me and got his ass handed to him verbally. His brother pointed out that he had been around my dog for a year and he knew her medical problems, so should have been more responsible. He said that was a wake-up call since his brother isn't an animal person even in the slightest. He followed that up with an apology and asked how my dog is feeling and if she got sick. He also said he would pay the bill or pay me back if I had taken her in and already paid for it. I thanked him for his apology, but told him I wanted some time before I forgave him. We all sat down, and I brought up some of what was said in my last post, especially the part where my sister was the one keeping an eye on my dog and should have also been more responsible too. I said that for at least a while, I won't let them be around my dog without me. My sister is sad but says she understands. So for now when I'm home, edit to add and we have guests over, my dog will be leashed and with me, and when I'm not in, she will be in my room. Maybe I'm overprotective, but at her age, my dog's years are limited, and I want her to be healthy for as long as possible. Dog update. And for those who are also worried about my dog's health, she's good and is loving coming to work with me this week. I will need to watch her for a few more days, but she's past the most dangerous part of this. She was less active than normal, but that happens when she gets stuff that she isn't supposed to. She's starting to perk up, and we went on a nice long walk before I had to go to work this morning. She'll be coming with me to work the rest of the week. And I'm sure the dog lovers will ask why I can't bring her all the time. I wish I could bring her with me every day, but that's not possible. Most of the time I'm in and out of the office, but my boss let me switch duties with another coworker so I could keep an eye on her this week. Thank you, Reddit. I appreciate everyone who commented on my post, even the one who thought I was the a-hole for not training my dog well enough. And edit here as well, because it was pointed out that it sounds like I'm going to be keeping my dog on a leash all the time. She will be on a 10-foot leash that attaches at my waist when we have guests over for the time being. And if I'm not there, and someone is over, she'll be in my room where she has access to food and water, and is allowed on my bed at all times. Otherwise, she will have all of her normal freedoms. And I'd say that's a very good ending to this story, and I'm so glad that OP, changed the lifestyle to suit the dog in the best way possible. I honestly wish nothing for the best for OP, and I hope the dog continues to have a happy life. Now I'm going to read some comments. Underlying Gamer says, as a dog owner, I completely understand why you're like this. I understand he apologized, but he screwed up and broke your trust. The leash thing is okay since it seems like you constantly take the dog on walks, and it's for safety reasons. Plus, if it's 10 feet long, it's not like you're restricting access. And OP replies, "It also isn't all the time. And after he's earned that trust back, I'll let her off it when he's around. Be careful with the long leash in the house. Things will be getting dragged off of coffee tables and stuff by the leash, and you'll be getting dragged into furniture when your dog decides to make a lunge somewhere." And OP replies, "Due to lab tail, we don't have a coffee table or anything tail height, but I'll keep that in mind. She doesn't lunge much, but it's still a possibility, especially if someone knocks on the door." And Knitting and Insanity says, "Glad she looks okay. You said her years are counted, but we just recently had my 14-year-old part lab put down, terminal illness, and the other half of him was Bernie's mountain dog. Big guy, lived a very long life for his size. Good luck with your beautiful dog." And OP replies, "I hope she makes it that long. The other part of her mix is known for living to be 15 to 16 years old, but with the health issues, it's a toss-up. I'm very thankful for her amazing vet. He saved her life a few years ago when she tangled with a family member's horse and was kicked in the head. She was still a puppy then, and he was the one who found the right diet for her, saving her again." Alright guys, that's the end of the video. Friendly reminder that I'm now posting daily on my second channel, Markee 2. If you want to laugh at memes with me, link is down in the description below. On phone, you just click that little arrow underneath the video. I also want to say thank you to all my channel members and Patreon subscribers. Your names are currently floating down the screen here, and I love to see all of you guys. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you for supporting me. I really appreciate it. If you see yourself on screen, I want you to give yourself a big pat on the back for being amazing as always, and thank you for supporting me again. I do hope that you guys have a good day, night, sleep, whatever it is you're up to. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.